Malolole, Hafaday, welcome to the Pacific Way. The Pacific region has become infamous for its high prevalence of non-communicable diseases, or NCDs, which threaten the very future of small island states. While cases of NCDs like diabetes and hypertension continue to take their toll on our people, the region is not standing back without action. Pacific Island countries and territories have come together to recognize this growing problem and, more importantly, are working in collaboration to find long-lasting solutions to restore the health of Pacific people.
Since the non-communicable disease crisis was declared in the Pacific Island countries and territories, the region has come together to ring alarm bells far and wide and find ways to curb the epidemic. Non-communicable diseases, or NCDs, such as obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease and cancers are a major social and economic issue for Pacific Island countries and territories. These disorders undermine development as they drain government resources and have serious repercussions on the quality of life for both the individuals and their families. However, a concerted effort and the political will from our leaders has now made the Pacific region a leader in the fight to curb this killer disease.
Member state of the Pacific.
The key one in our region, for the very first time in 2004, the ministers of health and the ministers of finance got together in the Solomon Islands and signed up to what's called the Pacific NCD roadmap. The roadmap identifies 5 things that the countries, these are evidence-based interventions that we know works, so they all signed up. And this was a historic occasion. It had never been done anywhere else in the world.
Governments across the Pacific are taking matters into their own hands, as lack of awareness and understanding on the root causes of NCDs has plunged the region into crises, with 70% of all deaths in the Pacific now linked to NCDs.
It's a dilemma, it's a major problem. We have to go through legislation, So we came up, this is the strategy Samoa was instrumental in going in that direction. What is healthy in the US or in New Zealand and Australia is also healthy here in our Pacific Islands. If you look at it, these are all the cheap meats, like turkey tail, mutton flaps, even the chicken parts. And they don't sell it in the local supermarkets. But they are sort of indirectly dumping it here on our shores at a cheaper rate, cheaper cost. So the cheaper, the more access our people are to it. And now they've developed the taste, and they have that preference over our own local meats, own local chickens. And the fact that turkey tail, Samoa was also involved in banning that, but due to pressure from the World Trade Organizations that Samoa seems to, we have to compromise.
The World Health Organization, or WHO, in partnership with the Pacific Community, or SPC, is providing technical support and evidence-based information to help guide the decision-making in member countries in addressing and tackling NCDs. WHO, which has convening powers to bring leaders around the discussion table, has led the widespread awareness campaigns in the region.
We have been doing, together with partners like SPC and others, a lot of advocacy in bringing the issue of non-communicable diseases to the highest level in the Pacific. And as you know, as a result, there was an NCD crisis that was declared 2011 by the Pacific leaders. So that really helped us to accelerate a little bit the progress, and those meetings where we can share experience, but also since we are at a meeting where we have decision makers, it's very important because they will make the decisions that will make a difference in the country, but also as a region. And so the result of the discussions that are happening yesterday and today will move forward next year at the Pacific Health Ministers meeting. So this is very important that we have this kind of relation at the different levels of the decision makers. So these meetings are crucially important to move forward and tackling the issue of non-communicable diseases in the Pacific.
Through several high-level forums, there is now a recognition and better understanding for the need for collaboration and information sharing. This is vital, not just within national governments, but across all sectors of our society.
Non-communicable diseases is a complex issue. There is not one organization that can do it alone. There is not one individual who can do it alone, and there is not one part of the government that can do it alone. It has to be addressed on a common understanding, and we have to all work together in the same direction. So the partnership is really a key element of addressing non-communicable diseases issue in the Pacific. And working with SPC and other partners really allows us to bring the added advantage of each organization and to work together in addressing gaps and avoiding overlaps.
Initiated by the SPC and through the collective leadership of heads of governments, the 2016 Pacific NCD Summit helped accelerate action on the crisis facing all 22 Pacific Island countries and territories, and provided several lessons on how to accelerate progress. Through technical and financial assistance from development partners and technical assistance from agencies like the WHO and SPC, country-specific programs are being designed and implemented throughout the Pacific.
There is some country who are leading in some area. For example, Tokelau has a ban on sweet sugar beverages. But it's possible because it's a small territory and it's maybe not so easy to replicate in another country. So it's really case by case. Some countries are the leader or the models in some area, and for some other area it's another country. So there is a balance in the region on all the topics. We have some countries who are really advanced in physical activity, promoting physical activity for people with NCDs. Some other countries are not in that area anymore and they maybe work on something different. Some try to provide an environment which is friendly and more for physical activity, for example. There is some country who try to have here in Suva we have the waterfront and the seawall. Some countries try to build that kind of things, like recently in Port Vila in Vanuatu, they've got the same. So this is good initiative, and this is where the political influence is important.
It is the political will and passion which ultimately shapes how individual countries address the NCD crisis.
As I said, our plates are full, and we really have to prioritize which areas and look at where it can cause the most impact in our strategies. As you said, we've had so many researchers, so many ideas, technical knowledge has been shared. But at the end of the day, it's the decision making of where to start. So if the rates of obesity, diabetes, hypertension, they are all diet related. So we really need to look closely at our diet.
While national governments continue to make inroads to support people living with NCDs, there is also an urgent call for action to protect our future generations. SPC engaged youth from 7 countries from across the region to initiate the Wake Up project. The youth helped design more dynamic communication techniques to deal with this health topic.
We have 7 different movies, and they are all different. We have a clip, like a rap song music from Vanuatu. There is another one who is about drawing by people from New Caledonia. Some are specific topics like diabetes, some are talking about all the different risk factors for NCDs. They are all different, and that's where this project is very interesting.
I do think it's achievable that we have a whole new generation of young Pacific people who have a totally different lifestyle from that of their parents, for example. Smoke-free, physically active, next to no consumption of sugar, much reduced consumption of processed foods. In other words, raising a whole new generation with a totally different outlook about health and well-being.
It is through collaboration, partnerships, and mutual understanding that the region as a whole can ensure a healthy future for all Pacific Islands people.
Hello once again, you're watching The Pacific Way. In our last story for this season, we celebrate the University of the South Pacific's 50th anniversary. That's right, the USP has now been producing Pacific leaders, researchers, academics and professionals for the past 50 years. A 12-month-long celebration spread out across 14 countries marks this historic occasion.
"2018 marked a historic year for the region as our largest educational and research institution, the University of the South Pacific, celebrated its 50th anniversary. Established in 1968, the University of the South Pacific, or USP, is at the forefront of excellence in tertiary education and innovative research, having produced renowned leaders, academics and scholars across the Pacific Island nations and territories. To mark the historic occasion, something special was needed to celebrate how far the institution has come.
Well, 50 years is a long time in the life of individuals or organizations. So it was obvious that we should mark it in some way. And given the success of the university, it was particularly important that we mark it in a way that both reflects the history of success and as well as makes more people aware of exactly what the university is doing right now, and then positioning the university well into its next 50 to 100 years.
The 50th anniversary celebrations is spread out over 12 months, and each of the 14 campuses had their moment to shine, where a week is dedicated for all 50th celebrations to be centered around the achievements of that campus. The celebrations also provided the opportunity for USP to showcase how the institution has grown through the years.
This is more than a birthday party. 50-year celebration needs to have a number of objectives, and for us it's not only showcasing the journey that the university has come on and the path that we've gone down over the last 50 years, but it's also to show the rest of the world what the university has become now, which is now a world-class university, and of course a stepping stone into the future, because this is now where we're going to start to tell people about what we're going to be doing over the next 50 years.
The university is made up of 12 member countries: Cook Islands, Fiji, Kiribati, Marshall Islands, Nauru, Niue, Samoa, Solomon Islands, Tokelau, Tonga, Tuvalu and Vanuatu. USP is also an integral part of the Council of Regional Organizations in the Pacific, or CROP agencies, since 1988, which brings together several regional intergovernmental agencies, including the Pacific Community. USP's success stands as an example of the strength of regionalism, which has been a key factor in advancing education and research throughout the Pacific.
Quite often, the general feeling in the Pacific is that regional entities struggle. USP is one example where it has really thrived. We've gone from 200 students to just over 30,000 students here. We have gone from the Laucala campus as the main and only campus to 14 campuses now spread in 12 countries with a further 11 centers in those countries. We operate over 33 million square kilometers, and yet despite all of the spread and isolation, we have glued the university together as a family, as an organization.
The celebrations got underway at USP's Laucala campus on 5th of February, which was exactly the same day 50 years previously when the first classes had started on the 5th of February 1968. But this was also a major part of the historical significance of USP's Laucala Bay campus.
Yes, sir.
Only a year before opening its doors to students, USP's Laucala campus was home to the 5 Squadron Royal New Zealand Air Force, and it was only befitting to celebrate the friendships and bonds that have been forged through the years between the people of Fiji and New Zealand. A special monument was constructed by Fijian artist Shane Bauer, who morphed the fuselage of a Sunderland aircraft with that of an albatross and carries the insignia of the 5 Squadron Royal New Zealand Air Force.
It's been 52 years since the 5 Squadron of the Royal New Zealand Air Force withdrew from Laucala Bay. New Zealand is deeply appreciative that the University of the South Pacific and the Government of Fiji are recognising 5 Squadron with this commemorative monument. I would like to thank the Vice-Chancellor of the University of the South Pacific for hosting this event and for inviting us to share in this celebration. Through him, I would like to congratulate the university as a whole for reaching its 50th year. Congratulations.
Over 150 former and current members of the New Zealand Air Force and New Zealand military were flown into Laucala Bay for a moving ceremony, which not only pays tribute to members of the New Zealand Air Force, but stands as a symbol of the close ties between the two countries.
It was the end of an era not only for RNZAF, but for every citizen of Suva, who had become used to the overhead drone of the Sunderlands and the Catalinas before them. It was a reassuring sound, not a source of irritation, because you provided a sense of security, first in wartime, and then through the many search and rescue missions you undertook that saved Fijian lives and the lives of our Pacific neighbors.
Just as the Sunderlands engraved their mark in the life of the Pacific, USP also can boast being an institution with greater aspirations going into the next 50 years.
And that is the Pacific Way for another season. We're grateful to have had your company throughout this season, and we look forward to bringing you more stories that matter to Pacific people. You can view all the Pacific Way videos and episodes on the Pacific Community's YouTube channel, and check out our Pacific Way Facebook page. Well, we'll leave you now with this performance from the renowned Chuki Dancers of Australia. The popular Aboriginal group have performed far and wide, and they also featured in the Aboriginal film called Brand New Day. Here is a performance from the Chuki dancers, and they performed at the 11th Festival of Pacific Arts held in Solomon Islands in 2012. Until the next time we see you, from all of us at the Pacific Way, we wish you a fantastic festive season. Ka kite anō, tō whānui and Nisa Mwedemanda.